Why isn't your business working? Why aren't you making sales? Why isn't your business growing? Why aren't you able to set up your business idea and turn it into an actual business that's revenue generating? Why are you stuck in ideation stage? Why can't you scale your business and make the revenue streams grow? Why? These are all the questions that we entrepreneurs ask ourselves each and every day. And sometimes you get stuck and try and figure out what the answers are. So what we're going to do today is we're going to start unpacking these things. Maybe you've got more questions that you ask yourself. Let me know in the comments below and we can talk about it. But for today, we're going to talk about the top mistakes that startup business entrepreneurs make. Hi guys, I'm Clem. Thanks again for signing in and checking in. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. If you find some value in what we talk about in our community, then that's very much appreciated. Otherwise, if you're here for the first time, welcome. Today, what we shall be doing is we shall be looking at the top mistakes that business owners make. And if you stick around to the end of the video, we'll go through how to avoid those mistakes. And I'll give you some of my experience that I've had in setting up businesses and looking at how other businesses operate for the clients that I consult for. As entrepreneurs, we go through a range of emotions. Let me take you back to 2008. I was living far away from family in the United Kingdom, and I graduated with a finance degree in 2008, just as the global financial crisis hit. I had no job, I had no family close by, I had no savings. But I'll tell you what I did have. I had ideas, I had skills, I had time, and I had will. And those things make up a lot of what I didn't have and then some. I'd always wanted to start a DJ business. I'd always loved music, always had a thing for parties. So I needed some startup capital to get the basic equipment. So what did I do? I applied for a call center job, which gave me a bit of cash. And this takes us to where we talk about mistake number one that most people make. Most people focus on what they don't have. And this is where the biggest challenge is. When we focus on what we don't have, we lose sight of what we do have. I always say to people that I talk to, be it clients that I consult for, start where you are with what you have. So what? You don't have startup capital. What do you have instead? Can you get a job and save some money to invest in your business, as seeding money, and you bootstrap your business? Or over and over again in my life, I've had great business ideas. I've had a DJ business, I've had a wedding business, I've had a wedding venue, I've had a drop shipping business, I've had e-commerce businesses, I'm running a SaaS business. So I'm familiar with the typical challenges that we have. The problem is that what tends to happen is we do not document how we want our startup. So we always focus on the fact that we don't have any money, we can't go to a bank and get the starting capital. But what I say is the solution to that is you think outside the box. What is the absolute minimum cash injection that you need to start? If it is equipment that you need to buy, can you buy it used? We've got Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree, Craigslist. There are a lot of cheap marketplaces out there where if you think outside the box and try and figure out how to get what you need at the least possible outlay, then you'll be ready to start your business. Yes, it won't be perfect. Yes, it won't be brand new shiny equipment, but do you need brand new shiny equipment to start? Probably not. And if we look at a lot of businesses these days, we look at online businesses. And I saw a meme the other day that was saying that Airbnb has no properties, Amazon has got no stores, Uber has got no taxis. A lot of the business that's going on in today's world exists online. So most businesses will need a website. But for those of us that aren't web developers, where do you start? It's 2022. You've got Wix, you've got Squarespace, you've got GoDaddy, and a whole lot of platforms out there that will provide drag and drop solutions to building your website. Back in the day, you'd have to go get a web developer and you'd be in it for $5,000 before you even got a working title. But nowadays, you can have a website up and running for your dropshipping business or for your e-commerce business within a matter of minutes with basic skills, no coding experience necessary. An example is when I was setting up my SaaS business, I had no coding experience, and while I was familiar with Wix and Squarespace, because I've built websites for my other businesses on those platforms, I was stuck because what I needed had to be a very custom and proprietary software. So I needed to do the front end on a website, and I realized that I had no option but to get something that's built in WordPress. I had never had experience with WordPress, but then all I did was downloaded it and I went to what you guys are doing right now, which is sitting on a computer or on a phone and watching YouTube tutorials. And within an hour or so, I was setting up a WordPress website. And if you look at the website at the moment for Marginfy, the front end of it, if I say so myself, looks great. But that's because I got some help looking at YouTube videos. If you don't have the funds and you don't want to throw money at the problem, then start where you are and use sweat equity. Find a way to teach yourself those skills that you require to set up that business. Not having a lot of money when you start the business is actually a good problem to have, because it encourages you to problem solve and think outside the box instead of throwing money at the problem, because at the end of the day, you're in business to make money as opposed to spending money. Then the second mistake that a lot of us make is making emotional decisions. I'll give you an example. Most of us here will bet good money that we make a better burger than McDonald's, right? But then if we were to start a burger business and try and make burgers to the standard that we feel flatters our pride, or it alleviates the fear of being ridiculed as bad cooks, or a burger of the stature that we feel aligns with our status, as a business we will fail. It'll be an amazing burger, but we will fail. And why? And the reason is because when you're making business decisions subjectively as opposed to objectively, you lose sight of the bigger picture. Fear is a very crippling emotion. What if it fails? What if you lose money? What will your parents say? What will your partner say? All successful entrepreneurs have the same fears. Success is not because they have no fear, it is because they've conquered that fear. Someone once said that to make it in business, it's not about avoiding failure. Instead, it's learning to fail fast. Now, what does that mean? It's going back to my burger analogy. If your recipe for a burger is wrong, wouldn't you want to know in the first week that you start selling it, rather than when you've built 5 stores across a city and you've got massive rental contracts and obligations? If you are afraid to show someone the prototype or the proof of concept of your business because you feel it's not perfect enough or it's not ready to be shown to people, you're already starting to fail. Fail fast, pivot, dust yourself off, and keep on moving. Number 3, throwing money at the problem. 12 months ago, I was using Excel to do a lot of my profitability model for my clients who I consult with. Their questions would be, how do they price their products? How do they manage their overhead costs? How much product did they have to produce for manufacturing businesses? For my clients who did drop shipping and e-commerce, they wanted to keep track of their multiple businesses, the different costs that they'd incur in setting up these businesses, how much would they make at the end of the year, because what they didn't want was to have these businesses running for a period of 6 months, 12 months, and when all is said and done, they realized that while they were busy, there's no money left for them in terms of margin. While this was working in Excel, anyone who's used Excel knows that it's only as good as its end user, and you're always a mouse click away from making a catastrophic mistake. Even with locked ranges, it's always going to be a challenge. So I decided to build a web application and set up that business as software as a service, as a SaaS business. And we call this business Marginfy, right? And Marginfy was built to help business owners do their pricing, model how much they would need in terms of quantity of products or services, how much those products would cost them, what the break-even point would be, how they manage their overhead costs, and effectively try and model and target how much money they could make from their business idea, or if it was a business that they were already running, how best to maximize the profitability of that business. It had to be a simple and powerful, quick and robust software, and it had to look and feel great, otherwise it would have no place in the market. But the problem was I had no coding experience. So I did my research and it quickly became clear if I was going to hire a development firm to do this software development for me, it would cost $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. And that's just money that I didn't have to put into the business at that point in time. Some of you here would be familiar with Jordan Welch. He's an amazing guy, a YouTuber who I absolutely love. And he's done a lot of great things as an entrepreneur. But one of the things that really struck me was he has this video where he talks about the stresses of creating a SaaS company and how much it cost him to do that and the challenges that he had to the point of almost becoming bankrupt and moving back with his mom. I'll link the video right over here for you to have a good look at that. But it quickly became clear to me that building the SaaS business was either going to require a lot of money with a lot of risk, or I had to figure out a way outside of that problem. I had to think outside the box. What I decided to do then is I called a few of my friends who do software development and programming just to understand the framework of what needed to be done at a high level to actually get this off the ground. And then the next thing I did was I researched consultancy businesses like Upwork, where you've got all these outsourcing developers and different business people who basically sell their time on those platforms to help you develop this. And within 6 or 7 months, after spending a few $1,000s, I had a working prototype. So the moral of the story that I'm trying to explain here is that if you don't have the money to actually do something, a lot of us look at that as a problem, but it's actually a challenge that can be overcome. And instead of throwing money at the problem, which will be money we probably don't have at that point in time, there's always a way to pivot and think outside. There's Fiverr, there's Upwork, and this is not a sponsored video, but these are platforms that I've used for my businesses before, and I have proof that they actually work. Yes, it's a bit challenging when you've got a smaller budget and you're trying to go with those consultants that haven't had a lot of jobs and a lot of reviews, so you have to spend a bit more time interviewing them and asking them a lot of probing questions, which means you have to be well researched on your topic. But you are still able to find some gems, some diamonds in the rough. The developers that I found 12 months ago did an amazing job, and since then they have started a company and they'll probably cost more than they would at the time that I got them. But the point is, people are graduating all the time from university, and new and younger people are coming into these consultancy platforms every day. So all you have to do with a little bit of sweat equity and elbow grease, you'll be able to find the right people to do the work for you that you require to start your business at a budget that actually works for you. It'll be a bit more challenging, but throwing money at the problem is definitely not the way to go. The fourth mistake that entrepreneurs make is ignoring what we dislike. When a business idea comes, usually something that you're excited about, something that you love doing, something that you love making, something that you love consuming. But when you decide to turn this idea into a business, what tends to happen a lot of the times is a whole lot of other things become part and parcel of it and become very necessary to actually make that business work. Marketing, research and development, branding, logistics, and the dreaded finances. I'm an accountant, and personally, I do not enjoy working in spreadsheets and calculators. But the point is, you have to be on top of the finances of your business. Otherwise, you don't know what's working, what's not, and you don't know how long you're going to survive for. Knowing the finance of your business is imperative to making sure that it not only survives, but actually has a chance to grow and thrive. A lot of businesses fail to get off the ground because they're not on top of these not so exciting aspects of business. If you love baking and selling pastries, you probably don't want to sit there and calculate how much flour you need, whether to hire a kitchen or do it out of your mom's kitchen, whether you're going to need labor, are you going to deliver the packages yourself, are you going to get a courier to do it. All those things then tend to weigh people down, and then they avoid them and they just ignore what they dislike and do back of the envelope calculations and see how they go. But what we should do, what is the solution? The solution is that you pivot and you think outside the box. You don't have to be a pro at everything. You don't have to understand everything. It's the digital age, right? We all probably have a smartphone or a laptop or a computer with an internet connection of some sort. All we need to do is figure out that without breaking the bank, how do we get people or software to make those things that we have to do for our businesses more efficient and more enjoyable. I mentioned Fiverr and Upwork before. Those are outsourcing platforms where you can get a consultant that suits your budget. Now, this is not a paid sponsorship like I said before, but then you've got a myriad of software and resources out there. All you have to do is look. Shopify has got a lot of templates you can go with. The business that I'm running called Margin5, if you don't like doing your finance and budgeting and forecasting and pricing, it's in there, and it's designed in a way to make it as painless and as fun as possible. If you hate marketing and branding, you've got Hootsuite, you've got Invoice2Go, Stripe, Square, Canva. The list is endless of software options that you've got that will provide solutions for those things that you A, may not be necessarily good at, and B, probably don't enjoy doing. And then you're already halfway doing what you would need to do in addition to that, which is watching YouTube videos. Everyone watches YouTube videos. There's a reason why YouTube has grown at the rate that it has. But a big part of YouTube is educating. And in this day and age, if you go on YouTube and Google how to, you will find solutions that are curated for you to understand how best to do those things that you dislike, but that are essential to running your business. Which takes us to the fifth top mistake that startup entrepreneurs make, and that is disorganization. Our entire lives are ruled by one thing, and that is time. One of my favorite saying is, time is the most expensive thing you will ever spend. We all need to change our mindset from running businesses to make money and understanding that what we need to be doing is running businesses to earn time. Money is only as important as the time it frees up for you. Time to spend with your loved ones, time to travel, time to actually be alive instead of merely existing. Yet we measure success in dollars and we measure business performance in dollars. Here's why that is a mistake. If you chase dollars, which are a number, you will always be chasing, and you end up loading yourself with so many things to do, not having enough time to actually enjoy what you do, spend time with your loved ones and do the things that make you feel alive. And eventually you're going to resent that thing that is going to be keeping you away from having time to do what you actually like doing. Like I was saying in the earlier point, there are a lot of things that come with running or setting up a business that are not as enjoyable as the idea itself. So if you want a business to succeed, you have to be organized. Those of you who are formally employed have Outlook or Teams calendars that determine what meeting you need to be at, where you need to be at that meeting, and a myriad of task lists and deadlines that you have to do. But if you run your own business or you're looking to start a business, do you have the same? Do you have a calendar for yourself? Do you have deadlines that have got actual time zones to them? Do you actually have a task list that determines what you're doing when and when something needs to be completed, even if it's something that you do yourself? As a startup, you are the founder, the engineer, the marketing guru, the sales consultant. You've got so many hats that you wear that if you're not organized, you're not going to be able to stay on top of these different things that might not be your strongest skill set, but are imperative to making your business survive. You know, the saying goes, if you give yourself 4 weeks to clean your house, it'll take 5 weeks. If you give yourself 4 hours, you'll probably be done in 3.5. It's the same thing. You just have to be disciplined and organized in how you manage your time. All right, so those are the top mistakes that entrepreneurs and startup businesses and business owners make. Thanks a lot for watching, and if you found any value, please consider liking and subscribing, or comment below if you've got any other challenges that you're finding in your business. And you'd be surprised, leaning on people and the community that you have around you, whether online or in person, you will actually realize that a lot of people are going through the same things that you're going through. And it is not about not having challenges and problems that determines those who succeed and those who don't. It is actually what you do with those challenges and problems and how you solve them and pivot. Catch you guys on the next one, and lovely having you here. Please like, follow, and subscribe. And for those people who are interested in finding out more about MarginFi, send us an email at info@marginfi.com or send a comment below, and our team will reach out to you. Thanks, take care, and remember, making dollars always makes sense. Take care.